Hey, it's Shannon.
And artists. And today we're going to get back to the basics.
Stay tuned.
Yep, so we're getting back to the basics. We're wearing our boot camp shirts today because we're getting back to the basics, almost like basic training.
Yeah. So today we just wanted to talk a little bit about what we look for as a lender when we're, initially talking to a borrower and looking at getting them pre-approved.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the basic things that we are looking at and what we're looking for. We hear it a lot that people are like, hey, I just don't know where to start. I don't know what I should be doing to prepare to buy a house. And so today we just wanted to talk to you about just some of those basic things that we're going to look at. One of the main things, number one, that we are going to look at is credit score, credit history. What does your credit profile look like? And do you have the required credit score for the loan that you're looking for? And most loans, right now we'll just say on average, we need a 620 credit score, okay? It used to be a little bit lower, but when COVID happened, things tightened up a little bit. So let's just say 620. So a good thing for you to look at on your credit is, where is my credit score? What does my credit look like? Am I paying things on time? Do I have late pays? Are my credit cards maxed out? Things like that. Those are things that can factor into your actual credit score. And with credit, one of the main things that you want to look at is just keeping your balances on your credit cards kind of under about a 30%, like whatever the limit is, you want to keep it about 30% of that and not have maxed out credit cards, because that's going to make a big difference on your overall credit score. And then just paying things on time, making sure that you are paying everything when it's due and not having, any past due balances or collections, things like that. So just really looking at that credit.
Yep, so the next thing we're going to look at is employment. So we're going to look at employment history. We have to have at least a 2-year history of your employment. Going to school to improve yourself for the job that you have, that actually counts as part of your employment. So we're going to look at your employment, the 2-year history at least, and then we're going to look at, make sure you have stable, that it's going to continue or is likely to continue, and then also basically, like I said, just basically that it's likely to continue. Make sure you haven't been jumping around too many jobs in a short time period, because that right there kind of is a red flag. It says, oh well, they're going to keep jumping jobs, so their employment is not likely to continue in their current job. Right.
And with that employment, we want to make sure that it's 2 years in the same line of work, right? And so, you can have changed jobs. Like, let's just say that you're working for a school district and you decide that you're going to move to another school district. That's fine as long as you're moving to a job that's in the same line of work when it comes to that 2-year history. So stability, like Artis said, in that job is really, really important. And then one of the third things that we look at is, how much can you get approved for? What's in your budget with the debts that you currently have? So a lot of people, you'll hear us say sometimes debt ratio. So that third thing that we're looking at is debt to income ratio, just to see how much is in your budget to qualify for a new home. And we have to take into consideration all of those minimum payments that are on your credit report, plus the new housing payment that you're going to have, and then that's divided by your gross income to come up with that debt to income ratio. And on average, I would just say that you want to probably be about 45% or less. Some programs can go higher, some are lower, but I would just say on average, if we want to keep you around a 45% debt to income ratio, meaning that those bills, those monthly payments, plus your house payment are 45% or less of your gross income.
And speaking of income, the fourth one we're going to talk about is income. So income, we want to make sure that, again, just like your employment, it's likely to continue. If you're a W-2 employee making an hourly wage, or you have a salary, a set salary, those kind of things make you a stronger borrower. Things such as what we call variable income. Basically, you don't get the same amount every time, first and the 15th, or every 2 weeks. all the time, your income varies depending on whether you are a truck driver, you drive by the mile, whether you're a commission pay, whether you're paid on just a different kind of pay structure than a normal, like I said, 9-to-5 person who gets paid a certain salary or an hourly wage. So taking consideration for those variable income, we have to, in order to see what we can count as far as income goes, we have to basically use the past to predict the future. So we have to use the last 24 months, 12 months in some cases, but on average the last 24 months, in order to figure out an average of monthly income for your loan file. So again, income, we have to make sure that it is set to continue. That's your regular income, and then for other types of income, so your child support, alimony, stuff like that, we don't have to count that, but if we need to count that as far as to get your debt to income ratio down, we will use that. But again, we have to show that there is a likelihood of continuation, and again, we use the past payments to say that, hey, all those payments were made on time, they were a certain amount as per whatever order, and they so since they've been paid all at the same time and on time every month, is likely to continue.
Right. And another level of that is our self-employed people. So lots of our borrowers that we see own businesses or run companies, and so they're self-employed, meaning that they get a 1099. So there are no pay stubs. There is nothing current that we can look at to say what that income is. So on self-employed borrowers, we have to take their last 2 years tax returns, and we look at the adjusted gross income, which is the income after all of your deductions, right? So all those things that your awesome accountant tells you that you can write off so that your taxable income can be lower, we have to look at that lower number. So if you started out at 200,000 and you said, hey Shannon, this is, artist, this is what I made, but then after all of your deductions, it was only 20,000. Unfortunately, that 20,000 is what we have to look at. And so you want to just be cautious and careful when you own a business that, yes, I know that it's not something that everybody wants to do with paying taxes, but at the same time, you can't tell Uncle Sam one thing and then call your bank and try to tell them something different as far as what your income is. It's all the same. We have to look at what you said your taxable income was to the IRS, and we average that for the last 2 years. So, there are cases where we get calls from people who have either variable income or they're newly self-employed, and unfortunately we're not able to qualify them because they don't have that history of that 2 years for us to be able to average. So very important on the income aspect of things and credit for sure. I think that's it. Yeah.
As far as qualifying borrowers, that's it. Now there are other things, and the one thing is, it's not, we look at one individual thing at a time. So we look at the whole picture. So let's say credit scores are a little bit lower, but the income is higher, which makes your debt ratio lower. Those kind of things happen, and we don't look at any one thing to qualify. Now, if you don't have one of those things, it can't disqualify you. But we look at the whole picture to make sure that the whole picture is good. So you could have an 800 credit score, but you only make, $200 a week. Well, we're not going to be able to do anything as far as purchasing a house. So it just, again, that total picture is what we're looking at. These individual things we look at, but we look at them all together to see that total financial picture to make sure you have the ability to repay your loan. Because at the end of the day, these are hundreds of thousands of dollars that we're trying to give you, or trying to lend you, not give, trying to lend you in order so you can buy that perfect home. And we want to make sure that once you get in that perfect home, that you're able to stay in it, and that you're not stressed out by how am I going to pay my mortgage and stuff like that. So what kind of questions do you have about the basics, getting back to the basics? So we'd love to hear from you. You can reach out to us by phone at 254-295-0905. You can also reach out to us by email at teamalexander@fairwaymc.com, or you can check out some of the blogs we have on our website at www.alexandercares.com, where we go over all this stuff and actually a few more topics. So, hey, we'd love to hear from you. Give us a shout. We'll talk to y'all next time.
Bye.
Bye.